Hey everyone, Meteorologist Ethan Emery here, the Fox 19 First Alert Streaming Center. And this is our Thursday edition of 19 at Noon, our weekday weather show. It is a First Alert weather day, so we're going to talk about the threats that we're dealing with these potential for strong to severe storms later on this afternoon and this evening. So again, hi everyone. We are live wherever you stream. We're live on YouTube, Facebook, both my Facebook page as well as the Fox 19 Facebook page. Fox19.com, the Fox 19 First Alert weather app, and the news app. And then we're also live on our First Alert 24/7 weather streaming channel. So what we've got going on this afternoon and this evening is the threat for strong to severe storms. And one thing I really don't want to underestimate with these storms is going to be the heavy rain aspect, the dew points. They're in the mid-70s, a very humid atmosphere when you step outside, and that humidity is going to allow any storm that develops to have the potential for very heavy rainfall. So right now we do have these mid to high level clouds. So that's due to that rain that moved through earlier this morning. And then we also have some of that sunshine filtering through. It is allowing temperatures to be, well, on the warm side heading into this early afternoon. And we do have some showers and thunderstorms present here this midday, particularly over towards Butler County. So let's go ahead and zoom in on that first. So for folks who are in Butler County, this is nothing severe, but it's bringing in a good downpour and a lot of lightning too. So remember, if you do hear thunder, you want to go inside, and you probably hear thunder over towards Middletown here this hour, obviously in Hamilton, also towards the Fairfield area. But it's a good downpour that's showing up here. And in fact, what we're going to do is look at the rainfall rates. Rainfall rates in any situation we're looking at this afternoon are going to be intense. And so with this particular cell, the rainfall rates are close to an inch an hour. So again, we're talking about the potential for some ponding roadways, maybe some standing water in your yards with some of these showers and storms that developed here this afternoon and this evening. But that is really the only cell we're tracking here this hour. And I mentioned this on the 11 o'clock newscast here on Fox 19. Right here's an outflow boundary. It's not really strong. In fact, it's really underperforming from what I was expecting. But there could be maybe some cells that fire up along it, maybe. So for our far southwestern counties, Carroll, Gallatin, Owen counties, nothing severe for you folks next couple of hours, but you might see a shower or storm develop down that way. Our attention, though, is off to the west. In fact, it's already beginning to develop. And these kind of systems that we're dealing with for the last couple of days as well as today are really, really tricky. We call these MCSs, multi-convective systems. You might have heard them as ridge riders that ride around the edge of the ring of fire, or the high pressure, the really hot air that's over towards the central plains and to the southwest. And that hot air, of course, is further off that way, but these cells and storms ride along it. So that's something we're monitoring right through here this afternoon. So we could see this development impact us later today, and that's why it's a First Alert weather day. But I do want to point your attention on a couple of things. So as a meteorologist, you can't just look at model data. In fact, in these kind of scenarios, models are not always the most helpful. They have a good idea sometimes, but oftentimes with MCS, it's kind of what we refer to as nowcasting. And so what I'm watching right now is the area of the greatest storm energy is down this way. So this right here, we have what we call CAPE values, or storm potential energy. It's further off to the south and west. Now, we are looking at some pull from the warm air to our south and west. So this could make its way into our southern counties. But notice we have some thicker clouds here from those cells and showers that moved through earlier today. So that has more sinking air. But that being said, it's going to be really determinate as to how far this area of energy makes its way further north to really know of the impact of regards to the forcing that's going to work with these storms later today. But we do know that this is going to develop. It's going to make its way east, but there's a potential that this could veer off towards the south and east. So we're going to have to monitor this. So it's going to be one of those days, well, just like the last couple of days, where you need to be weather aware all afternoon and this evening. And with these storm threats, it looks like the timing with these storms will be any time between 4 o'clock to about 10 o'clock with these showers and storms that could potentially be on the stronger side. But right now, the cells that are showing up towards St. Louis don't have lightning right now. It's actually kind of an organized line here. And what's going to happen is it's going to make its way further off to the east. Once it crosses over across the Illinois-Indiana state line, we'll have a better idea as to what the direction, the pivoting that it could do. But right now, we are going to be monitoring that area over towards the St. Louis metro. But I do want to look at temperatures right now because this cloud cover, though it has been over top of us from those showers and storms earlier today, it's still warming up. We're still in the mid-80s over towards the Lunken Airport, 82 at CVG, 86, the warmest spot on our map down towards Falmouth, 77 in Batesville, 77 in Wilmington, and 82 again over towards Hamilton. And the dew points, the reason why I'm mostly concerned with the threat of very heavy rainfall is because of just how humid our atmosphere is. So we have dew points right now in the mid-70s. When you see this map with dark green, that is a lot of moisture that we're working with in our atmosphere here today. So any cell that develops is going to have that threat for very heavy rain, and the result could be potential for localized flooding, even flash flooding at times. Now again, models are not handling this very well at all. So we go into 1, 2 o'clock, it still has a cloud cover overhead, but it does have maybe a few cells that fire up ahead of this, and these cells, they could develop whenever, wherever. Again, just with how humid the atmosphere is, any kind of lift with this heat will kind of allow them to pop up like popcorn. Now I will say this model, it's very egregious with the temperatures. I do not think we're going to get to the mid-90s today. But we ought to be looking at, after 4 o'clock, this line here. As I told you, once it crosses over the Illinois-Indiana line, we'll have a better understanding as to what it's going to do. Some of the data has this thing moving due east. If it moves more due east, we'll see those greater impacts. If it dips to the south and east, we'll still have some impacts here in the Fox 19 Now viewing area that'll be limited. And I'll explain those impacts here in a moment. So we go into 5, 6, 7 o'clock. This activity is going to make its way through the tri-state, and notice all of the red. In this case, the red is indicative of the torrential rainfall that's going to come down with these showers and thunderstorms. It's going to continue until about 10 o'clock. After 10 o'clock, the activity is going to begin to decrease. And then we go into the overnight hours, we are looking at some partial clearing, and that could set the stage for some patchy fog going into Friday morning. So we could be looking at some patchy fog on Friday morning, and then Friday afternoon, also the redevelopment of scattered showers and thunderstorms. And Friday, the severe threat, it's low, it's not zero, but I will say both days, the threats are going to primarily be the torrential rainfall, in addition to strong to severe wind gusts, which means that the wind gusts could be in excess of 60 miles per hour possible, and of course the frequent lightning. Now I will say there are some low-end threats of hail as well as isolated tornado threats, but I will say, looking at the data, those threats have gone down since yesterday. Still looking at very heavy rainfall, still looking at strong wind gusts though, in any storm that develops here going into this late afternoon into the evening hours. So I've said a lot in the last 9 minutes. So I haven't had a chance to even look at the comments yet. I just want to get all that information out there. That way you know the very latest here from Fox 19. And so what I want to do now is take a pause and look at some of our Facebook comments and questions, and hopefully I've answered some of those. And we will go ahead and move forward once we get these comments underway. So Molly says, hello Ethan from Pleasant Plain by Stone Lick Lake. Always appreciate seeing you here, Molly. You're a frequent visitor on our 19 at Noon show and our weekend 19 at 6 shows. How about these storms coming in this afternoon? Now, I think we are looking at the potential for isolated severe storms. I'm not looking at any kind of major outbreak, but we could see a couple of warnings that could be issued because of those wind gusts. Again, it's going to be a line that moves through. That line, whether it goes due east or southeast will still clip part of the Fox 19 Now viewing area. So if you live in southwestern portions of the Fox 19 Now viewing area, Decatur, Ripley, Switzerland, Carroll, Gallatin, Owen, Grant counties, you, I believe, have the better threat for some of these stronger storms, at least from the latest data right now. Now, that being said, everyone should be on guard today, have that weather, be weather aware, because this line, if it maintains itself, could still bring in the threat for strong to severe storms, even to our eastern counties. So something we'll be continuing to monitor, and of course, we'll let you know here on Fox 19. Jennifer says, I haven't had to water my garden this week, so keep it coming. Yeah, the rain we're seeing with this, we definitely need the rain. However, in this situation, it's not the best because it's coming down at such a good clip that it could overwhelm some soils and gardens and agriculture. But yeah, we do have moderate drought conditions still present in the Fox 19 Now viewing area, so we do need the rain. Anthony says, always on time with this weather. Hope you have a good day. You as well, Anthony. Thank you for watching us. David says, sure is hot and humid outside here in Maysville. We had some rain this morning down in Mason County. Yes, it's going to be hot and humid outside of these storms. And that heat and humidity are going to be two ingredients you need to have for stronger storms. So indeed, we do have that threat for, again, the stronger storms. And part of it is that heat and humidity here in the tri-state. Rachel says, why does the weather app radar look so different from what you guys usually show? So with the weather app, there are certain features, and I'm going to try to show this here real quick. I can't show it on the cameras because it's just too far away. But when you're on the First Alert weather app, when you're going to the, the app closed on me randomly. When you go to radar, mine looks fairly accurate. So what you want to do is when you're looking at radar, make sure that you see just past. So on the bottom right-hand side, when you're looking at radar, there's a little button. It's a rectangular button to the bottom right, just above the ad, where it says now. Right next to that, it should say past. So if you click on it, it'll say past and future. Looks a little messy. It's because it's model data and radar. If you go to if you select future, it's a little bit more messy. And that's because in this situation, again, models, they're just a tool. They're not always the best. And in this situation today, just the last couple of days, models do not have a good grip on this kind of atmosphere. So make sure it says past. And that will be the best thing to have in this scenario. So it looks fairly accurate on my end, but if you can send me a message on my Facebook. Actually, I don't have my messages enabled. I have too much spam. Send me an email, ethan.emery@fox19now.com. That's ethan.emery. And take a screenshot or two. Let me know what you're seeing. I try to work with you, make sure that we get that app working for you, because we want to make sure that you get that accurate information. Robert asks, any chance of a watch being issued today? I think there's a good chance to see a watch get issued. I think it's going to be a severe thunderstorm watch. Now, when? That's to be determined. And I'm going to do real quick is see if there's any updates from the folks at the Storm Prediction Center. And I do not see any right now. So we'll go ahead and continue. So, yeah, we could see a watch this afternoon. I would say keep an eye after 2, 3 o'clock for that potential. And, of course, have your notifications enabled on the First Alert weather app. And that should prompt you whenever a watch does get issued. David says, local radio station here in Maysville said ½ an inch today and tomorrow. I will say a lot of radio stations get their data from the National Weather Service. That's not far off. However, with these storms, though some locations may see ½ an inch, others could see a lot more with these storms. And if the storms miss you, you might see less. It's just kind of the nature of how this pattern is. So ½ an inch is kind of a ballpark, kind of a median or mean with these storms. So David, we need some of this rain. So any rain is welcome. Michael says, in any storm that develops here going into this afternoon, into the evening. Yeah, so anytime after, I would say 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock onward, all the way through 10 o'clock, we're looking at that threat for stronger storms. Tracy asks Northern Kentucky. Yeah, Northern Kentucky is included. Everyone in the Fox 19 Now viewing area is included. Everyone's asking about certain locations. And again, this kind of atmosphere is, everyone's kind of under that gun for the threat of stronger storms. So, again, from looking at radar, I think our western counties and southwestern counties are kind of the most vulnerable when it comes to that threat for severe weather today. However, areas to our east should also be weather aware, because if this line continues to move west, we could see those areas impacted as well. I know it's Fair Week in a lot of locations. David's chiming in about the Germantown Fair over in Mason County. So, so that's something those organizers need to be aware of too. Rhonda asks, what are the chances of severe weather Friday? It's low. It's a marginal risk. That's a level 1 out of 5, but it's not 0. So we are looking at Friday, the potential for storms that could have some gusty straight line winds as well as heavy rain. Now, like I said, the threat is lower tomorrow versus today. Tomorrow is much more disorganized compared to today. Today, reason why the threat's gone up a little bit over the last couple of days is because this line is a little more organized. However, the organized nature of it is very tricky to forecast for. Shannon, why does it say first alert, severe storm risk, but it also shows yellow for slight risk? So two different maps. The slight risk is from the Storm Prediction Center. The Storm Prediction Center has 5 categories for severe storms, and they use it based on probability. Green for marginal, yellow for slight, orange for moderate, orange, it's a little complicated. Orange for enhanced, red for moderate, pink for high. And so with the yellow, it just kind of means as a caution color with that slight risk of severe weather. It's level 2 out of 5. And first alert, a lot of our branding has red on it. So the color's a little bit different. It's not McDonald's. But so that's hopefully an explanation enough to maybe help you understand a little bit. Angie says tornadoes today. No, the threat's pretty low. I can't rule it out entirely, but I do think that the better threats today are going to be straight line winds and heavy rain. Travis says, just tuning in, how does rainfall totals look? Well, it's going to be a wide disparity depending on where this line develops. So I think the range could be anywhere from maybe 1/10 of an inch in some of our far eastern counties if this line does dip southeast. But this line could bring in over an inch of rainfall in some spots. Now, it's going to be very localized just with the nature of how these showers and storms interact. Elizabeth asking, so what time will it come in today? After 3 o'clock, we're looking at cells really firing up in the Fox 19 Now viewing area, and it's going to continue through the evening. I'm going to look at my Facebook page real quick, make sure I answer all the questions those folks may have, and then we'll move right along and double check and look one more time at some of the latest data, and then we'll move to the 7-day, and then we'll have to wrap this up for Now the Natty at 12:30. Chrissy says it's pouring in Trenton right now. Yeah, Butler County, quite a bit of rain with that cell moving through. It's not severe, but a lot of lightning was showing up earlier, as well as that torrential rainfall. People are asking about severe thunderstorm watch potential. That'd be later on this afternoon. So after 2, 3 o'clock, we might see a watch. But next hour or two, I think we're not going to see any watches or warnings for that matter. So if you got to do outside, maybe you got to mow the lawn real quick. Maybe it's grown up real tall with some of this rain earlier this week. By all means, I think you got a couple of hours to work with, except if you're in western Warren County. You're looking at that cell making its way towards you. So if you're in Lebanon, I would hold off on outdoor activities with that cell in Butler County. It could impact you folks here later today, in the next hour or so. Patrice says, good to see you. Maybe we'll see you on the air with this going on today. So the schedule is very complicated, but I will be doing weather at 3 and 4, and then after that, kind of just depends on what's going to happen here this afternoon with these storms. So Sarah says, hey, hi to you. Daryl. Hey, Daryl. Good family friend. When can I mow? Daryl, you're in Clinton County towards the New Vienna area. I would say you're good to mow for a couple of hours. That's cell in Butler County. You might want to keep an eye on it to see if it doesn't grow or not, but depending on how long it takes you to mow, I know your yard size is fairly decent. I would say get a head start on it. Try to do it now. And then after about 45 minutes, take a break, look at your phone, look at radar, and see where that cell is, if it's grown or if it's no longer there. So I think you got a good 45 minutes to an hour there in New Vienna before there could be anything that develops over you. After that, we're caught up. So now what we're going to do is go back here. And again, what we're looking at here this afternoon is the threat for stronger storms. So again, in this situation, a good meteorologist is not going to just look at models. You got to look at what's happening now too. And what's happening now is we do have some storm energy down here. We call this CAPE, convective available potential energy. It's just a way for meteorologists to look at the lift in the atmosphere. We do have quite a bit of lift down here. It's beginning to break apart here, meaning that we are looking at the atmosphere destabilizing. That being said, it's going to take some energy to allow that to happen because of the showers and storms earlier this morning. And this line here is beginning to form. And this line, you can see it's actually beginning to grow. It's showing up some dark red. It's got some lightning now. So this is the line that we're going to need to watch. And it's kind of a race because this thing is going to make its way west, and this is trying to push north and west, or north and east, pardon me. However, it's running into this mess. It is trying to destabilize, but it's not happening at a fast enough rate for this to really push in. So this line right here is going to follow the greatest storm energy. It's going to be very close to impact the Fox 19 now viewing area. From what I've been seeing, this line, I believe, is going to cross over the Illinois-Indiana line and then begin to sink towards the Louisville and Lexington metro. However, with this line growing, I think that's going to perhaps clip the Fox 19 now viewing area. And with that, strong wind gusts, heavy rain, and a lot of lightning. There's a severe potential. Again, we have a slight risk of severe weather for the Fox 19 now viewing area. And model data, it has an okay grip on it, but it's still not great today, just like it was yesterday. Yesterday, when I was doing this, 19 at noon, the timing was very off from what I was showing you. And it's just kind of the nature of this kind of atmosphere. So here, it is showing some cell development ahead of that main line, and that to me tells me that we're not going to destabilize fast enough for this to be an outbreak situation. However, still looking at the threat for some stronger storms. These little individual clusters could bring in some heavy downpours, frequent lightning, and a gust of wind. That main line, though, after 4 o'clock, I do think this line will impact our west and southwestern counties first, and I believe it is going to weaken a little bit as it crosses over into the central portions of the Fox 19 now viewing area. You don't let your guard down, though. I'm not trying to downplay this, but I don't think this is going to be an outbreak scenario. I think it's going to be very heavy rain. I think there's going to be some strong wind gusts. There could be some tree limb damage, perhaps. Maybe some minor power outage potential with this, and a lot of lightning. So we do have the lightning, the heavy rain, and the strong winds, and this will continue through about 9, 10 o'clock. After that, the severe threat's over. We could have some patchy fog develop late, and then tomorrow we also have that threat for perhaps a strong storm or two, though the threat tomorrow is even lower than today. And now we're looking at 7-day forecast, because we've got to wrap this up to get our folks ready for Now on the Natty at 12:30 here on Fox 19. And then I got to get a lot of stuff done before Frank comes in, as he's filling in for Steve Horsemeyer here this afternoon and this evening. I'll be filling in tomorrow evening. But the 7-day forecast, you can see here, temperatures are going to get a little bit milder going into Friday. Friday morning lows, low 70s. That's an indication of that humid air not budging yet. It's still going to be here. High of 87 for your Friday. Saturday morning, still in the low 70s. Saturday, we got widely scattered showers and storms, and there's no really severe threat on Saturday, though heavy rainfall still could be a concern on Saturday. Saturday evening, Saturday night, the rain comes to an end. Temperatures fall into the 60s for overnight lows. but highs are going to bounce right back in the upper 80s for Sunday and continue into next week, as we are looking at above normal temperatures. Upper 80s and low 90s, lows in the upper 60s and low 70s. So it'll still be humid, not quite as humid as today though, of course. But there are some questions about the potential for maybe some pop-up showers and storms on Tuesday and Wednesday. I'm not looking at any threat for severe weather for those times right now if you're asking, but there could be some pop-ups on both of those days. The data is wild disparity depending on which model you look at. But our focus, of course, is today with that threat for scattered stronger storms this afternoon and this evening. Of course, you can always track it on the Fox 19 First Alert Weather app. We'll keep you updated here on Fox 19. If any watch or warning does get issued, we'll post it on our social media, also on our app, and then on the website. And of course, if any warning does get issued, we'll be on the air for you here on Fox 19. So we are going to be keeping an eye on that. And of course, if anything does get updated, we'll let you know here on Fox 19. So again, thank you all so much for joining us here on this Thursday edition of 19 at Noon.